Today is Saturday, May 4th, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 46, Week 10.
That's right. 2 shows a week. We do the recap on Wednesday. Saturday, we hand it over to the super fans. Check in, see what they thought, see what kind of predictions they have for what's coming next. And this season is all about chaos and the crazy. So definitely a lot of feedback.
All right.
Yeah, I think we got 21. Does that sound right?
I believe so.
21 super fans weighed in on this past episode, week 10, and to offer up their thoughts. Do we need to cover anything? Any business
We're
beforehand?
good to go. Let's hear from Pete.
Here we go.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, my Lanta. How is Q dodging these bullets? It's staggering. Then again, this new era is just driving me berserk because once again, someone goes home with an idol in their pocket. Hunter and now Tiff. Oh, I'm losing my mind. I'm going to let out a great, big woo! And wow. I mean, I cannot believe it, but I guess I sort of understand it. Where Maria and Charlie, or it was more Maria, I feel like, that orchestrated it, of blindsiding Tiff with the idol. As soon as they figure out you have an idol, you're public enemy number one, even if you have some nut job out there that probably offers nothing. So I can understand that from a strategic point of view. And Maria said, when are you going to make your move? And to her credit, she kept pursuing it. It was her, Charlie, they had Ben, so 3 Seeger, and they knew Q would vote Tiff because they weren't getting along. And Liz, to her credit, the way she was pissed at Q, somehow she held strong and went with the blind side on Tiff. And clearly now, I wonder if Venus, looks like she didn't know about it because she was the only other person that voted for Q with Tiff and Kenzie. So we have to see if there are any extra clips or what happens next week now with that. But wow. Though, how is Q keep dodging these bullets? What he did with Liz, I honestly would have taken Liz on that reward, knowing, she hasn't eaten, and that it made her think of home and her daughter. I thought that was awful with Q, but it is Survivor. We know Survivor is in fear. Look, Kenzie felt sorry for her, too. They all did. But I think there's going to be some revenge with Liz. Maybe next week Q goes home if he doesn't find an idol or wins immunity. We'll see. But right now, guys, what's there, 7 left? Maria right now has built her resume. Kenzie, I still think, is in a good spot, even though she wasn't a part of the Tiff vote, but she was going to get rid of her eventually. So I think Kenzie is in a good spot to win, too. Charlie's won 2 in a row, which is big. I don't know what he offers with strategy. I think Maria has outdone him in that. Ben is in the middle. He's just following with the numbers, I feel like. I still don't think he could win. Venus and Q are clearly the scapegoats again. And Liz, I mean, that was big with Liz helping getting rid of Tiff, but I don't know, though, with her outburst if she could win either. To me, it's Maria and Kenzie are the top 2, then maybe Charlie, and I don't know, Ben's in the middle. That's what I'm looking at with this, but we're in for, it looks like a solid finish, and we'll see how it goes. And I want to say R.I.P. to the first ever person voted out, Sonia. I'd be remiss not mentioning her either, from Borneo. All right, guys, take care. Woo!
Woo, thanks, Pete.
Yep, rest in peace, Sonia.
Pete reminded me that Liz is going to get a little bit of revenge. after that tribal council. Because remember what happened with this one? They came back, Liz, how come you couldn't tell me? And then Venus explains to her how she got left out. This time, Venus got left out. So Liz will get to explain to
That's
her
right.
how that happened.
Well, it was last minute.
Yeah,
On the way.
it was
to
only
tribal.
10 minutes. I hope she uses the word-for-word answer that Venus gave her, because you know that'll set Venus off tremendously.
Oh, yeah, sure it will.
Yeah, once again, Venus got left
Pretty
out.
sure Liz is going to take that opportunity.
Yeah, there were some interesting bits. Folks are going to cover it along the way in the feedback, in the extra videos. There was one innocuous one that they offered on Survivor on CBS channel, where Venus basically catches the jacket she got from Mariah. I think it was, she said Mo.
Oh, yeah, where she caught it on fire?
Yeah, she caught her jacket on fire, and then I think part of her sweater too. So she was huddling close to the fire. She's going on about how she has to tend it through the night. She was the one that took care of that and maintained the warmth.
She's like, wow, it's getting warmer.
Yeah.
Not hot.
Yeah, and another...
Oops, I'm on fire.
And another Icarus-like reference. She wakes up and she has flown too close to the fire.
Oh, well, I'll buy you a new coat.
Yeah, sorry, Mo. Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Pete. Up next, we got an email from Robert in Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. I've got a bit of a cold preventing me from recording feedback this week, so I thought I would write in some of my quick thoughts on this episode. I think this episode is my favorite of the season so far, he said completely unironically. I should feel a bit more disappointed since I lost my USB and Tiffany, but at least I was smart enough to get a vote-off point for her. Very clever. That's interesting that you were able to pull that off. Not everyone's willing to go that far.
That's true.
There is something sad about voting off your own USB. We should coin a term for that. Maybe call it the ultimate betrayal bonus, and you get an extra point for doing so. That's okay, we'll think about that. I don't regret sticking with Tiffany. I think if I switched at the time, I would have gone with Kinsey, who had a terrible episode. Tiffany was a very good Survivor player, but I think at times her stubbornly determined personality came off as a bit abrasive. I think how she handled talking about the food reward showed that her social game wasn't quite well-rounded enough. Once again, I decided to watch the preview for this week's episode after claiming that you wouldn't, and it spoiled who won the reward challenge. I feel bad for saying it, but that meltdown from Liz was one of my favorite Survivor moments. Okay, that's why this is the best episode for you. From the dramatic Liz, do you want to talk about it, with her head turned away, hiding her true emotion, to the tsunami wave of anger, frustration, and entitlement that followed. It was truly a TV moment, indeed. The best was Q putting a stop to it by reminding Liz that she had literally just voted for him. I thought Q handled Liz's meltdown with pure class. I get Liz is starving, but Q does not owe you anything. Maybe Liz will win a food reward next week. If it's cheese, she has more than enough wine to go with it. Maybe after the game, she can spend some of her billions. You upgraded her to a billionaire, huh? From a millionaire. Spend some of her billions and buy an Applebee's franchise. The immunity challenge this week was another nail-biter. It's impressive how much work Charlie put into preparing for the game. He and Maria are definitely my favorites to win. I wonder if they are willing to go to the end with each other. As far as my predictions for next week, my only prediction is an idol is found and played for the first time this season. Ironically, that person will get no votes. I think Kinsey is in trouble next week. She was on the wrong side of the vote, and Maria has shown she is willing to work with Q. Anyway, that's it for me. You guys just take care. Thanks, Robert.
Feel better, Robert.
Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Rebecca calling from Northern California with my feedback. And profoundly disappointed in Tiffany. Yet another contestant goes home with an idol in their pocket. And what I really don't understand is, okay, in tribal council, Jeff Probst was literally going, wow, everybody went home with idols in their pockets, and is Q just a smokescreen so people will feel comfortable and sit here with an idol and not play it like Hunter did last week? Anybody catching what I'm putting down here? It was like he was speaking directly to Tiffany. Maybe I'm the only one who was seeing this because she was my USB and I had her voted as a safe point. That I'm looking at her going, don't fall for it. They're coming after you. They've been coming after you for days. You have an idol. Play your idol. Smacking my head watching TV again this week. I don't understand why people are playing so stupidly this season. I just don't get it. But we do have redemption in Charlie and Maria, who are playing very, very smart, because they are looking across the board of the whole game and looking moves ahead and saying, hey, yeah, Q sucks and he has no agency in the game, but we can use him. So let's go talk to him and see how he can vote with us, because we are looking at the end game, not just let me get through one more tribal council. Tiffany would have still been there the next day. She could have gone and looked for a new idol. You don't hedge your bets when you're that hard on the chopping block. That's just my opinion. And that's without actually being in the game and being hungry and being tired and maybe not being able to make the right decisions. Kudos to Charlie and Maria. I almost chose Maria as my new USB. I was vacillating so hard between Maria and Tiffany and thought Tiffany had the edge. I guess I was wrong. I have now lost 2 USBs, like many of us this season, because it's just so hard to predict what these people are going to do. I have friends in the side challenge, however, who put Q safe and kind of saw the writing on the wall of what was going to happen, and kudos to them, because that was some good point playing. I have not been so lucky this season. I think Charlie and Maria are poised to go very far. I think they're playing very level-headed. I really admire Maria. Charlie is a little bit of a challenge beast. I don't think Venus or Ben or Liz have a shot at winning. I just don't think they've played well. I think Kenzie and Maria and Charlie have a real shot, and they're doing very, very well. I don't think Q's going to do anything, and I only think they're going to keep him around until he's no longer useful. As to who gets voted out next, I would love it if it was Q, because he has the worst social game ever. It would have been very kind of him to take him, but of course, yes, he didn't have to. Anyway, I'm all over the place, just like the season. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy, and I look forward to what everyone has to say.
Excellent. Thanks, Rebecca. Next up, we got an email from Doreese in Utah.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Starting with Liz, I don't have much sympathy for her at all. I mean, you're on Survivor, starving, not getting what you want, and having your game blown up are part of the game. Good for Q for doing what was best for his game and not catering to her. My second USB TIFF is gone, and Q, my original USB, is still in the game. But I doubt I'll regret giving him up, since at best he'll be a 0-vote finalist. Now that he's got a good meal under his belt, he'll try to reclaim some agency and make some moves, but even with that second win, they won't amount to much. He just alienated too many people, and only Maria is open to working with him as a means to her end. I was most impressed with Charlie and Maria after this episode. Charlie's immunity challenge wins were impressive, and Maria's ability to stay quiet and listen serve her well. Hope that they can stay together to the end, but I doubt they will. I don't remember, did Denise vote Malcolm out?
Nice reference.
Ben is the least impressive to me. I'm tired of his rock and metal references, and he doesn't impress in the challenges. Ben does not rock. I have no idea who's getting voted out next, but I hope it's another sweet, sweet blindside. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy. All right, thank you, Doreese.
Good job.
Next, we got a call from David in Oklahoma.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, this is Dave from Oklahoma. I'm a little busy because today's my brother's birthday, so I've only got time for a minute or two. This episode is a big, old, hot mess like the rest of it, and I love it. I love that we're having so much drama this season. It's so fun to see like we have a live cast, and I like the older seasons, but I do feel like I enjoy the new era more. On my predictions for being the winner, it's still on Charlie because I think the next person to go is Maria. Mainly because I think people are starting to see her as the threat she is. Overall, I do like the casting so far, but I do feel like challenge-wise, they've leaned more on endurance, and I think that's the only immunity challenges they've had. Not like I don't like them, but I would like to see an obstacle course or a puzzle this season for like a challenge. It was nice talking to you guys. See ya. Bye.
All right. Happy birthday to your brother there, Dave. Next up, we got an email from Tim in Western Massachusetts.
Well, I'm 3 gins in and got 4 points. About time. Pouring a fourth and cheersing my fellow gin drinkers and also Tiff for being such a threat she was more important to take out than Q. Honestly, a glass of gin could win against Q. Take him to the end, and even his mom wouldn't cast her vote for him to win. That may be the gin talking.
Uh-huh.
All right. Thanks, Tim. Have another gin. Up next, we got a call from Anderson.
Hey, Joanna Stacey. This is Anderson calling from North Carolina with my feedback for week 10. Wow, what a crazy challenge. I thought Kenzie would win it because she was really light coming in, and now she's even lighter. But, like always, she doesn't. And Liz's breakdown. I don't know. That might bite her in the tail. Honestly, I picked Charlie to go, and I thought he would go if Tiff won. Well, poor Q. And Tiff for the target. Now I lost my USB 10 with an idol in their pocket. I should have stuck to Venus. And I know Venus isn't going to win. This is just crazy. Next week, I think Maria will go. The challenge, I didn't get a good look at it, so I don't really know. Joanna, I know you sometimes watch The Amazing Race. I've watched The Amazing Race always on Thursday mornings after Survivor, but I guess I'll see you later. Bye.
All right. Thanks,
All
Anderson.
right. We have good taste.
Next up, we got an email from Yazz in NorCal. Hello, Joanna and Stacy. It's Yazz from NorCal. Phew, what a couple of weeks. 2 more players out with idols in their pockets. Hunter was my USB, so that was particularly frustrating, and he felt like something was off and knew his name was being brought up. I really thought he was smarter than that. Tiff, I understood not playing it more. She felt so confident it was going to be Q. The tribe really did a great snow job on her, even during tribal. I was shocked when Tiff was voted out. I was doing so well in JSFL early on, and the last 3 weeks have been awful for me. Lost several safe points. Oh, she says,
3.
3. I read that both Kenzie and Maria offered to give up their reward spot and give it to Liz, and Q refused to allow it. I'm very curious why they didn't show that. Yeah, me too.
Yes, why wouldn't they show that?
That's something Tiffany mentioned in her exit interviews. Yeah, and it was all Q. Probst didn't get involved at all.
Didn't say anything.
He said, I've chosen who I wanted to be on that reward with me.
And
no subs.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
That would have made great TV. I agree. Well, the player who has grown on me the most is Charlie. And this episode just solidified that for me. 2 years of working on grip strength, that is so smart. I'm definitely cheering for him to win. He and Maria are playing great, but based on the previews, I am now worried that they may be turning on one another. I do hope he comes out on top. Maria seems to be playing a good game, but Charlie has my heart. He seems like such a sweet guy, but is also smart, prepared, and has been playing a really strategic game. My guess is that he's been practicing fire, unlike so many of the others. I have no advice for who is going to be voted out, and if I did, you shouldn't take it because I've been completely wrong. I was actually considered joining the side challenge this season. I am the worst singer on the planet. Glass breaks and animals run. So glad I didn't. Well, that's all for now. Can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. Thanks, Yas. Well, you are absolutely most welcome to join the side challenge in the upcoming season. We would love to have you. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, Joanna, Stacey. Hey, everyone. This is Drew. So, yeah, I'm on a roll. Friday morning, and I'm sending in my feedback. So you are welcome. I watched the episode this morning and actually listened to the recap as I was driving to and from a meeting about 50 miles north of where I live and work, and which I learned upon arrival was rescheduled till next week. So thank you for the company. A needless 2-hour drive. Yeah, 50 miles each direction, just about. But anyway, here's the thing. I think that we've seen the ultimate Survivor hangry reaction to game frustration, hunger, all of that with Liz. So I don't think that Q owed her anything. I think that her reasoning for why she should have gone on the reward, I don't think she deserved it per se. I don't think she earned it, obviously. And I think you can choose whoever you want. And like you said, he voted for me. But I do understand her frustration with him as far as the game goes, because he has screwed up everyone's game, including his own. And so that part, 100% Liz. He's screwed everything up. He's made a big mess, and he's constantly causing unnecessary drama and all of that. So I understand that part of it. I think that the food was just kind of the final straw, and that caused her to finally lash out and take it out on him. But at the same time, you know what you're signing up for, right? I guess she assumed there might be rice, or at least the opportunity for rice. But how can people go on Survivor and be surprised that they're hungry? I don't know. Maybe if you have extreme dietary limitations, you don't apply. I don't know. I don't know. So 2 challenges. That was fun. Charlie Bucket. Can we just go ahead and start calling him Charlie Bucket? That was a great performance. I like him a lot. Andrew Garfield is what I see when I look at him, and great savvy, but great low-key just observation and conversation. So I'm kind of hoping at this point either Charlie or Maria just pull it out for the whole entire thing at the end. So I had Q to go also, by the way, and I might have even had Tiffany stay. So there you go. But I'm still not in the basement. I'm only a couple points away, but I'll take it for now. Okay, everyone have a great weekend. Thanks again for company on the drive, and talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. Glad we could be there
You're
for you.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Next up, we got an email from Tara in New York.
Hi, everyone. I haven't had a chance to submit feedback for a few episodes, even though I've loved listening to you all. After a slow start, what a crazy fun season this has been. The cast has been playing hard, and the theme seems to be that all is fair in Survivor, especially turning on your allies. It is making for great TV. Liz was difficult to watch this week, and I do feel some sympathy for her. Seeing everyone else eat coconut daily must become excruciating. However, she did choose to play knowing her limitations and chose to vote out at least one of the people providing her with seafood to eat. Also, Q did not break her game. If anything, her own obsession with Q and constant complaining may have broken it now. Hopefully, she has a clearer head after some rice. I doubt it would happen, but the others might consider that little jar of rice as an added bonus for voting her out now, which would be pretty ironic.
That would be good.
Yeah,
give her food and vote her out. Boom.
It was sad to see Tiff go, but it was a great blindside. I know tribals go for hours sometimes, but I'm surprised she wasn't tipped off with the Jeff repeating that Q was a smokescreen so many times. Today, I was also thinking that Q, not playing his shot in the dark, if it's still allowed, should have been a giant red flag to play that idol. Maria and Charlie did a great job pulling it all off, and everyone was incredibly believable, so I get her reasoning though. If the trend continues, it seems like Maria or Charlie could be in trouble. I don't know that either would go after one another right now. I also wonder if anyone knows that they are so tight. Maybe they could protect each other for another vote or two at least. If that's the case, they are in great shape, and maybe Q will finally go home. From the preview, it looks like an idol will be back in play. Also, so anything could happen, and I know it's just as much fun as it's been lately. On a side note, Jeff announcing that season 50 will consist of returning players, possibly all from all seasons, is really exciting. There are so many greats to think about. Who do you all think would be a great addition from this season? I'll stick with my USB Tevin, but there are many others just as worthy. I can't wait to hear from everyone else after another great week. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all the effort you put into this podcast week after week. I always look forward to it. Well, thank you, Tara.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a suggestion from this season? I think we got some potential here.
If Charlie doesn't win, I would like
What if he does?
Well, if he does, then I feel like, that was kind of his story. I don't know that I would want to see him play again as a winner that quickly.
No winners on season 50 for you?
But if he doesn't, I don't know. I hadn't thought that through yet. How about you?
Yeah, Charlie's got some potential. It's not, the cake's not baked here on 46.
Yeah.
But certainly Charlie, Maria, and Tiffany and Hunter, I would still keep them in play. I really liked watching both of them, and I hope they've learned more, even though those two made some gigantic blunders.
Yeah, I would like to see Hunter again. I think.
Yeah, it would be great to see
if he learned.
Hunter and Jonathan, and there's several people from the 40s that I can think of that would be interesting to watch. I gotta think they're gonna bring Ricard back. Maybe not, since Ricard had a little bit of a villain vibe, or
But
a lot
not
of a villain
Shan.
vibe. I'm just not keen.
I don't want to see Shan.
Yeah, the whole shyster play thing and the religious manipulation really put me off.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people liked watching her play. And
Okay, but from this season, anybody else?
No, but you can bet they're going to think about Q.
Oh, no,
Dropping
no,
those
no.
chaos elements in, just like they brought Debbie back for another season. They'll probably think about bringing Liz back.
Oh, no, they shouldn't.
Remember,
bring
they're
this
about
back.
TV moment. They're not thinking about really good players.
Yeah, but she shouldn't come back. That's just too much on their body.
Don't you think she would, though?
Especially after you've tortured your body once.
I totally think that she would do it again. I don't think she will have
might.
learned anything. Oh, that's a good question. Thanks, Tara. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy, it's David in Pittsburgh. And while the time has gotten away from me, I am so sorry about getting this in so late. But I just had to let you know, I had a dream last night about Survivor, and this has never happened to me before. And in my dream, I was one of the players, and I was in a really crowded area, not on the island, and I was with Liz. And the place we were in looked like it was a Panera's. It was not an Applebee's. But anyway, so Liz and I are talking, and I'm looking around. I don't recognize any of the other players, but there are a lot of people there. And she's showing me several volumes of children's literature. And so I'm talking to her and asking her for recommendations and telling her I really haven't read much children's literature, but if she recommends something, I'll read it. And she was so friendly and so nice and so personable. And when I woke up, I thought, yep, I've got to pick her for my next vote out point. So what is it about this season with people going out of the game with idols? We have Jen and Hunter and Tiffany and Tevin had his double vote advantage. Only Maria seems to have played it, which it wasn't necessary. So I'm just wondering why so many people are going out, especially when they see it happening over and over again. Does that mean that the players going out are not that good and the players that are voting them out are that much more strategic? I don't know. But anyway, here's my final predictions. The players I think do not have a chance of winning. Q, Liz, Venus, and Ben. I don't need to go through a lot of explanation. And for the possible winners, I think Maria is showing the most strategic gameplay, although we're not seeing other strategic gameplays from other contestants. So she's a good possibility, but it doesn't look good for her next week. And then Charlie, but if he keeps winning immunities, his target keeps growing on his back. And then Kinsey, I don't know. She really doesn't seem to be able to differentiate her gameplay from Tiffany's. And I think because she wasn't in that last vote off of Tiffany, I think that probably is not going to do her any good. So as far as my picks for who cannot possibly win, just remember I stated proudly several seasons ago that the one player I knew who would not win was Gabler. Talk to you guys next week. Bye.
That's great. Wow, what a unclimactic dream with Liz.
Thank you.
Not sure that. Okay, so you got your pick out of that. I guess that's something.
Well, what if those 4 were the only choice for winner?
Mm-hmm. Sounds familiar.
What if
I think I
those
was asking you a question
4
like
band
that.
together and vote off old Zico?
Yeah, could be.
They could if they could stay together. I don't think Liz could stand it.
There's a strategic element that Charlie was involved in that we haven't talked about yet, and if it doesn't get covered, I'll bring it up in the end. But it resonated. It seemed very significant to me that Tiffany discussed in her exit interviews. But we'll keep going. I can't remember if it gets covered or not. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Parker.
Hey, it's Parker from Indiana, and another good episode, although the Liz stuff was a little egregious, a little on the nose. I also feel absolutely no sympathy for her because the way she talks is she hasn't had a single bite of food since the game started, which I know is complete BS. And yeah, popcorn, not a lot to get you through. If you really haven't been eating that much, you'd be dead. You can't survive on just water very well, especially in conditions like Survivor. So I'm not that concerned about her well-being. Also, production told her several times before the game started, Jeff has talked about this several times, that it's going to be really hard for her because of her limitations on what she can eat. So just be extra considerate about that. It's going to be really hard for you. Do you want to do this? It's going to be really hard for you. And she's, yeah, sure, why not? Sign me up. I'm good to go. I really have no sympathy at all, especially not for somebody who's going to have a psychotic breakdown like that. I'm sorry, is your name Brandon Hance? Who are you? There's no way you're that hungry. That was crazy. That was next level. I feared for my life and Q's watching that moment. Also, he has no obligation to pick her for this reward that he won. If you want to go on a reward, maybe win something and not suck in challenges. That might help. Q has sucked in challenges the whole time, but he said he's gonna turn it up, and he did. So we saw that. We saw that in this episode. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, Liz. You can cry and scream all you want. If I was there, I would have absolutely no sympathy because that is just baby behavior. Like, you're just acting like a freaking toddler having a meltdown. Even Q's not that bad. Like, come on, man. That's crazy. Just nuts behavior. Other than that, this was a good episode. Maria came back in the spotlight, which I loved because she's my new USB. And then right after I chose her, she kind of like faded away again. And it really became Charlie's narration of that alliance, which is fine with me because I like Charlie. But as Maria is my USB pick, I was, that's not good. But she was really narrating this episode and this strategy. So that's, that feels good for me. Although the fact that I did lose a save point on Tiff, and I'm probably in the bottom of the side challenge again. Not great. Not great. Don't love that, especially because the past couple spring seasons, the time where I just dip and go to summer camp and I'm not able to watch the last couple of episodes live is coming upon us. So I'm going to have even less thought put into my picks during then because I probably won't be able to listen to any of the podcasts. So I'm just going to be like trying to remember everything that happened. Not great, but hey, I'll get my picks in. I never forget. I always manage to get them in. But man, that's tough. I might be singing again. Ooh, oh boy, that'll be fun. Yeah, that's all I got. I will see you all next time.
Oh, thanks, Parker. We have enjoyed your singing. It's a great way to bring back in the fall season, so I look forward to more of the same. Next up, we got an email from Shahin in Australia. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hope you and all the fans are well and safe. What an absolute mess. Dalton Ross called this season's cast likable whilst referring to them as messy and goofy. He got 2 of the 3 right there. The TV moments and characters which produce these moments have captured so much airtime, it has become hard to connect with the players on the periphery. The problem is, it's more than likely we're going to have a peripheral winner. Joanne, Stacy wasn't joking when he was giving you those horrible winner scenarios. I think Maria shot up in the winners board and Charlie rocketed to the top. He is clearly the one to watch. However, I think he has done it in such a way that his threat level is low. It's great threat management from Charlie, and again, the fear is he or Maria and Kenzie becoming exposed and us landing a weak winner. I can take another Earl Cole or Kim Spradlin. We had that type of winner last season indeed, but please God, not a bad one. Again, another idol goes to waste. I read Dalton Ross's article and he used this data set to support the counterpoint to too many idols and advantages being in the game. However, this masks the poor gameplay present throughout the season. One remark is that they managed Tiff's exit extremely well, and I don't fault her much. She did mention nearly playing her idol, whereas last week it was quite obvious to Hunter he needed to play it. I think the GOATs will continue to ride it out next week, so I think Kenzie is on the chopping block. Unfortunately, I lost my first safe point of the season, changing it to Tiff minutes before the episode aired. Oh, I hate when I do that. Getting harder to manage these save points this season. Last season was way easier. Lastly, great to see Jeremiah posting confirmation of returning players for season 50. I mentioned wanting players like Rodney coming back, but I did a search yesterday and he's become a wellness guru. I think I'm good. Too many Banus for me in one lifetime. Thanks for all that you do. Cheers. Thanks, Shahin. I'm with you, buddy. That's I'll take a definite pass on Rodney and the gurus and the influencers. Up next, we got a call from Chris.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's Chris from Minneapolis calling. I have to say the first half of the episode was probably my least favorite of the season. I think between the 45-minute Applebee's commercial and just seeing Liz, a starving person, melting down right in front of us, just not enjoyable to watch that. As far as Q, I was talking to some of my friends before the episode, and they were all like, yeah, Q's next to go. And I really felt like Q, I think, is no longer a threat in the game. I felt like he was kind of the way it played out. Q's a number, and I think that we saw that that's just what I think is going to happen for the rest of the game. Q is just going to keep going in the game, kind of GOAT status, and I really feel strongly that Tiff was the target this week, and I really think Kenzie's going to be going next week, and just part of Charlie and Maria pulling the strings and getting out the threats and then putting themselves in a good position to win the game. So I'm going to be putting my vote on Kenzie for this week. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I believe that is a distinct possibility with Kenzie. Good job. Next up, we got an email from Rosie in Georgia.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Love your podcast and the opportunity for listener feedback. I wanted to summarize some things about Liz on this past week's episode. In her preseason interview with Mike Bloom, she disclosed that she was allergic to almost everything that was available to eat on the islands of Fiji. She embraced it and even bragged that her experience with food allergies and food insecurities had prepared her for being hungry on Survivor.
What an awesome callback. Way to go, Rosie.
She could not wait to see her tribe mates crumble and cry because they were starving. She voted out Soda and Tevin, who were the people that were catching crabs for her to eat. Hence, her statement that she had not eaten since the merge. She got rid of the people who were feeding her. In a deleted scene released by Dalton Ross, Entertainment Weekly on May 2nd, it shows the tribe receiving the tree mail previewing the upcoming reward challenge. It then shows Liz with Charlie, Ben, and Venus lobbying them to pick her if they win. Then it shows her in a confessional saying she doesn't really want to win the reward, but for someone to give her a pity pick. That might be why she was lollygagging along in the challenge. She just expected whoever won would pick her. Oops. I find it hard to see what kind of example she is providing to watchers to see her melt down like a toddler who is told no when she doesn't get pity picked for a reward by a man she hates and has voted against. It was Q's reward. He won, and he had his picks for his strategy for his game, whatever is left of it. So that's all I've got. Thanks for all you do. All right, thank you, Rosie. Welcome.
Good job spilling the tea, going back to the source material like that and really framing the Liz picture in a complete look. Appreciate that. Next up, we got a call from Lori.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. This is Lori from Southwest Florida. First-time caller, long-time listener. Love the show. What prompted me to call today was I've had Q as my vote out for about 4 or 5 weeks now, and he just keeps staying and staying. I'm almost afraid to not pick him this week because he seems to just somehow prevail. Most people seem to be annoyed by him, but I'm finding him quite entertaining. Not entertaining, however, is Liz. Her tirade was very difficult to watch, and while I feel very sorry for her, she knew what she was signing up for. And I seem to recall her saying pre-game she was used to being hungry and it wouldn't be a problem. Well, obviously she's now learned it is a problem. I don't blame Q for not taking her. She voted for him. Anyway, love the show, love the feedback from the other fans. Have a great day, and thanks for everything. Bye.
Thanks, Lori. Good job. Great to have you here. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California. This feedback is provided to you by Applebee's. Just kidding. But what an episode. I do feel a little bit for Liz being out there and not being able to eat a lot of the food, but it was her choice to go out there and play knowing that would be the case. I can also see how she does not deserve any type of special treatment out there. I can see both of the reasons for Q and Liz to think the way they have. For Q, Liz was coming after him in the last episode, and he had the right to choose who he wanted based on how things were happening and how he was wanting to bring his core alliance back together, which didn't work out, but at least he was trying to patch things back up. For Liz, she had a tradition with Survivor and Applebee's, and it would have been a nice thing to bring her to the reward, just as a nice gesture of helping her keep that tradition going and to get more food into her system while the others were able to eat on a daily basis. If I was out there, I probably would have chosen her regardless if she was trying to vote me out or just as a human being trying to be nice. I guess it was a nice consolation prize that she got a small container of rice that she can enjoy solo without playing the immunity challenge, which seems like it would be hard to hold on to depending on what you weighed before the game started. Maria's playing smart with the thought process of changing what would have been a very easy vote off in Q, so I can see her going to the end if she plays smart. This tribal council wasn't nearly as crazy as the last few, but I don't understand not playing an idol if you have it when danger may be in play. First it was Hunter and now Tiffany. I will say at this point the Maria and Charlie alliance is looking quite strong, and I can see one, if not both of them, making it to the end of the game. There are still a few episodes left, so anything can happen, but I can see this season ending with a bang with who is left out there. With who's left, I think some of the standouts are Maria, Charlie, and maybe Kenzie, but we shall see how the rest of this season plays out. Thanks, Jack. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the Survivor Super fans. It's Justin from Michigan. Wow, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it had all the ingredients to be a very well-rounded and entertaining episode. To start off, I thought Maria was very smart for keeping her options open and her relationship with Q, keep that in her back pocket. I don't think it's good for Tiff and Kenzie to stonewall him, completely close that door. I didn't think it was good for either of their games to not at least pretend like they would be willing to work with him. I think that's where Maria is on another level of maybe she can't trust Q, but you got to leave that door open and use him as a potential vote. The Liz tantrum, I just saw a deleted scene where before the challenge they read the tree mail and she begs them to take her. It looked like everybody was on board. Q was not in that conversation. It did not look like he was not in the shot. No. It didn't show that he was in agreement to take her. But something that rubbed me the wrong way was she even said in the confessional she didn't really care to win the challenge, but she did want to be the pity pick. And I think that's the wrong approach. In my mindset, you're out playing Survivor. If you really want the reward, you say, I'm going to do my best to win this. And if I don't get it, hopefully I've built these relationships and somebody picks me. That's how you need to look at it. Not, oh, please pick me, please pick me. I mean, yeah, Q is the worst person to win this reward for Liz because she's wrote his name down. She hasn't shown any intention of working with him. But it doesn't benefit him to take her. It's not like they're going to work together long term. So I don't blame Q at all. He was true to himself. He made a good game decision versus an emotional decision. To the immunity challenge, Charlie has shown tremendous grit in these endurance challenges. I give major props to him for training his grip strength. I know firsthand, I've done some weight training, and when you train your forearms, it affects your everyday life the next day, sometimes the next 2 days, depending on how intense you train. It's hard to even just write because your grip strength and your forearms are just throbbing. So I give him a lot of credit for training for that. And then going into the tribal council, I was really surprised Liz and Ben were able to put their emotions aside and make the better game move with Maria. She drove the vote. I think she made a compelling case, and they did a great job of selling it at the tribal council. Everybody made it seem like it was 100% Q, and good on them for not tipping their hand. I think next week they either have to take out Maria or Charlie, or the writing's on the wall for one of them to be the winner. That's how I feel right now. I liked your discussion of the final three. It really did. If you put those weaker 3 or 4 players in, that gives everybody kind of a chance, but you put Maria or Charlie in there, one of them's winning. You put Kenzie in with anybody except Maria and Charlie, she's probably winning. So that's kind of the top 3 right now, and we'll see how it all shakes out, but I'm really looking forward to the home stretch of this season, as there are several people left, and the top 6, top 5 can't beat several, but it's still going to be exciting. Thanks for everything.
Nice several reference. Good job, Justin.
I don't know, Justin. What about if Ben blindsides Charlie and then Maria?
Dun, 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 dun. A Sega surge at the end. A Sega purge and a Sega surge for the win. Could happen, maybe.
Then get
Seems
Kenzie,
unlikely.
Ben, Q, Liz, and Venus.
Tiffany did not think a lot of Kenzie going after her. She just could not comprehend trying to make that move that early. But she also wasn't aware of it while she was out there. So what else? Tiffany did say that since that was an overnight stay at the sanctuary, they did have longer discussions with Q that night, and they did patch some things up. They didn't reunite. They didn't, everything wasn't square or anything like that. She wasn't interested in working with him, but they did put some effort in. Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, only a few episodes left, and business continues to pick up. Hopefully they'll stick the landing. My other observations: after so many escapes, I'm going to start spelling cockroach to begin with a Q. I like that. Or just shorten it to Q Roach. He's definitely got the Q Roach vibe going. Unlike a juicy Applebee's Bourbon Street burger, revenge is a dish best served cold. I think it's a safe bet that Q isn't in the running for Boss of the Year. Complaint to CBS: my Applebee's commercials were interrupted by some reality show. Is Q still in the game because nobody wants to risk having him on the jury? Sanctuary must have an early checkout time. They return to camp soon after sunrise. Yeah, that's I like that observation. I know I was aware of that, but I don't think it really set in until I read your feedback here. I predict Q will win the final immunity challenge and Liz will lose at fire. You could say that the edit has absolutely pointed us in that direction at this stage. Since when did voting out your number one this early become a Survivor checklist item? Is Q a smokescreen or the smoke monster from Lost? We also have burgers and fries for our Survivor ritual, but we make them at home. Tiff called Q Icarus, but she's the one who crashed and burned. Indeed. The Survivor Diet 2.0 is the most effective diet on the market. Liz melted down faster than the cheese on a hot Bourbon Street burger. The curriculum of Survivor U has been expanded to include Grip Strength 101. Definitely, there's people who put that on their list and have already begun working on it, I know. If Liz doesn't win, her Wednesday ritual may shift to Outback Steakhouse. Just to avoid the bad memories, huh? That's good. The editors jumped the shark when they played an angelic chorus for the burger. Pavlov's Liz, every time she hears Applebee's or burger, she groans. I expected Venus to do better in the challenge. She only weighed 10 pounds pregame. I'm surprised there wasn't a mushroom cloud when Liz exploded. Jeff's rice negotiation was an example of shrinkflation. Same price, smaller player pool. I like that reference. Did Liz's explosion come after Q put the kibosh on Maria and Kinsey giving her their spot? That is indeed what Tiffany said in her exit interviews. Jeff wants to be Monty Hall. He even gave Liz rice as a parting gift. But it was no treat. Liz screamed louder about the reward than she did for her divorce. I still pity her lawyer. First Charlie, then Ben, now Jeff. When did Survivor turn into Name That Tune? Liz says she's over it. That's like when your partner tells you, it's fine.
It's fine.
Did Q sound like a robot when he said Liz is allowed to express her emotions? There was an eerie calm to his voice. With his facial hair growing out, Ben's developing resting Klingon stoner face. That's awesome. Oh, they could form an alliance if they both get picked for season 50, huh? Coconut, fruit, and chicken make Liz's throat clench. Q makes her fists clench. Charlie was a beast in the immunity challenge. Call animal control. Liz went through the 7 stages of grief for missing out on the meal. Q lost the immunity challenge because Venus manifested it. Okay. Liz voted for Tiff because lactose intolerant Tiff chose the Oreo shake over the burger. Wouldn't that be funny if Liz did end up going along with Maria and the others just because Tiffany came back and talked too much about the food and said nobody ate the burgers? Yeah. I'll show you, Tiffany.
Too much information.
The editors pulled out their slow-mo tool again for Q's loss in the challenge. Kinsey reminded me of Stacy when she gave us her take on quitters. Q is a high roller. He only wants to roll severals. Nice working that one in. Effective product placement. Every mention of burger or Applebee's cut away to an ad. Liz's apology to Q was definitely an example of sorry, not sorry. Kinsey's hair being on fire was a hidden ad for Jeff's podcast. That works. Q's plan is to do what Maria says, but claim to have agency. Next time, idol search. Everyone lies. Maria's a villain. He's a jerk, and Q snickers. Just another Wednesday on the island. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Great job, bud. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Survivor friends. Jeremiah here, and oh my gosh, what an episode. Tiffany! I can't believe it. She went home with the idol in her pocket. Oh, my Lord. Seriously, has this ever happened before? I don't recall anybody mentioning this, and maybe you all did and I completely forgot. But have we ever had back-to-back episodes with people going home with an idol in their pocket? I mean, granted, we had our beloved Gravedigger who had 2 hidden immune idols that he went home with. But to have separate players back-to-back get lured into almost the same issue, right? Yes. I mean, she thought that Q was the vote, just like Hunter thought Q was the vote, and then doesn't play the idol and gets voted out. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, great TV, of course, but pain for all of us that were rooting for Tiffany. Obviously myself, selfishly, because she was my winner pick. But, man, oh my gosh, brutal to watch. And, of course, she broke her own rules. She knew she should have played the idol. Just like Hunter should have known he should play the idol. Oh, my goodness. What? Man, I don't know what to say about all that, but it's crazy. Now, clearly Maria really has jumped up big time after this episode. I mean, granted, Charlie was, of course, involved in this decision as well, but Maria was really driving the boat here, building up that relationship with Q and making this happen. So give her a lot of credit. Should we now go back to considering her potentially as the winner? Definitely Charlie Maria, I think, is your top people right now as potential winners, right, with Kinsey being right behind them. I do think that's one of those three people I really do think is going to win this game at this point. So we'll see how things go. Right now, I'm thinking we're either going to get a Q finally going home, or Maria or Charlie are going to turn on each other. So I think that is our scenarios here. We're either going to get a Charlie Maria boot or Q. That's kind of where I'm landing at the moment. I think between those options, I'm really heavily leaning towards Charlie going home next week, but I really could see them just finally closing the book on Q. But time will tell, of course, and we'll have to see what happens and how it plays out. Oh my goodness, this whole stuff with Liz, by the way, listen, I think I've already mentioned this before, but I don't really get a big deal. I don't understand why it's supposed to be entertaining to watch these players starve to death. I just give them the rice. That's kind of how I feel about the whole thing. But whatever. It was painful to watch, though, for sure, to see her go through all that. But anyway, okay, so that's pretty much it for me. Like I said, I'm really leaning towards either Charlie or Q going home next week. And that's it for me. You all take care. Until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Fantastic as always. Good job, Jeremiah. Tiffany said in her exit interview that her plan, had she been able to stay, was to get Maria and Charlie off the board. That was her priority moving forward, to make sure they weren't in the finale. And then she said, I don't care who's there. I think I got a great chance to win at the end if I can get rid of those two.
Well, she waited a little too long.
Yeah. And then she dropped some information as to why, but we'll get that in the wrap-up.
Okay, we'll get that in the wrap-up.
Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. And oh my goodness, I had Liz going home this week because I really thought, based on the previews, that Liz was going to be some sort of medical evacuation. I knew I wouldn't get a vote-off point, but I figured it was safe to pick her because I really thought that she was going out of the game. And as the episode wore on and we just kept seeing her over and over again, it was like the Liz show this week. I really felt like I was right, so I was very blindsided as Tiffany was, by the vote-off at the end. So, taking it from the top, Liz is upset that she was left out of the vote again. Maria is seeing some value in Q as long as he is in the game. I don't like that she's considering working with him because anyone who works with Q gets burned. This could be Maria's downfall. I know it got her a spot on the Applebee's reward, but I don't know. So after the reward challenge, Talk Show Jeff gives Liz an opportunity to throw a royally massive temper tantrum. So I know Q is Q and he's done his fair share of being a jerk to people, but having won the reward, there was no reason for Liz to have been shown preferential treatment to be taken on the reward just because she has refused to eat for 18 days. I know she has allergies, but that really is a Liz issue. Everyone is out there to win $1 million, and no one is entitled to get a reward or anything else for that matter. And regarding the meltdown, that was an epic meltdown. There was no way that Survivor was not going to show it. But aside from that, which was very compelling, the rest of the Liz backstory and the constant focus on it was such a distraction from the real gameplay that was going on. There were times when I wasn't really sure if she was truly upset or just talking about her situation so much as to provide an extended advertisement for Applebee's. And Liz's situation aside, as I said at the beginning of my feedback, I don't like the way that Maria is talking about Q and that she trusts him. She's really playing with fire, and I think at some point, rather than seeing Q be some sort of shield for her, she could find herself on the receiving end of a blindside with a Q smokescreen, just like they've been doing these past few episodes. So we'll see if that happens. And I can't believe that Tiffany was sent out with an idol in her pocket. Oh my goodness, the idols that are not played this season. I'm not sure whether the blindsides are that good or the players are that bad. So Maria made a really good move to get Tiffany out without Kenzie's assistance. She took that off Kenzie's resume. But I think it has turned her into a villain, and I think that even though it was a good move, this move has sunk her game. The modern era does not like villains, and modern players don't like to reward villains. So unfortunately, I don't think that Maria can win anymore. This is Charlie or Kenzie's game to lose. in my opinion. Next time on Survivor, everyone is scrambling to find an idol, but I think that there should be 2 idols hidden out there. One that's Hunter's and one that's Tiffany's. So we'll see if that's the case. That would make it super interesting. Anyway, that's it for me. I can't wait to hear what all the other superfans have to say. Till next week.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. What do you think? 1 or 2?
1 or 2 what?
Idols. Hidden immunity idols. Re-hidden.
Just 1.
Do you think it'll just be the one?
I hope so.
What if they have already hidden one when Hunter went out? And
don't want to hear it.
Here's the thing with that. There really is, like several people said, there really is a chance for another Q smokescreen takedown. Because you find an idol here, you're so going to want to hold it for Final 5, which would be the last time you could play it. The temptation is going to be overwhelming, and that's essentially what we've seen with people getting super greedy with idols.
Yeah.
And as long as nobody knows, or you think nobody knows.
But when everybody knows, like with Tiffany.
And Hunter.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have to know. He told it.
It would just be so much the cherry on top for another person to go with it in their pocket. That would be sort of the legacy of season 46. And I think it is a combination of bad gameplay.
I'm cheering for Charlie, I think, right now.
Yeah, so here's the deal with the thing that stood out more than anything else in Tiffany's exit interview is that she said she had been working with Charlie. They had a really good connection, and Charlie came to her with an idea of using her idol to take out Maria. And
Good on him.
Tiffany found that very compelling. And so the takedown is almost like a 1-2 punch. I could see Tiffany sharing that in a final tribal council and then it getting spun a completely different way. Yes, Maria used Q, but Charlie's idea in Tiffany's head caused her to hold it. She was so interested in the possibility of working with Charlie because of the time that they had put in to their alliance. And she said they had an alliance. It was a named alliance. It was based on Harry Potter.
But what if he and Maria
had planned that
so that Tiffany wouldn't play it?
Possible.
And they could pop her, and she wouldn't play her shot in the dark. She wouldn't play her idol. She wouldn't play anything.
Right. That's a possibility too.
But we don't know.
No, we don't know. I bet we'll have an answer when it's done. Yes. Yeah, that's possible too.
Well, we already know. We heard them. Several people say, "Oh, Charlie's just so nice.
Mm-hmm.
He's just so nice. He's just a sweet boy."
But
so nice.
I can see the combination of the two. Finally, yes, let's get rid of Q. And of course, Maria's using Q for the vote, but Charlie setting that up too, that's really what sunk her. You can understand a little more, I guess, about wine, but she just should have played it regardless. But she said she was tempted by his idea for sure, his proposal.
Yep. In hindsight, wonderful.
That seems to frame Charlie in an even more positive light.
Yeah, I think so.
Not sure why we didn't get to see any of that.
Because they don't want us to know yet.
Do with that what you will. Yes, there could be a flashback coming, or it could be insignificant because Maria turns on Charlie and takes him out.
Could be.
She finds an idol, plays it, makes herself safe, and Charlie ends up catching a vote from Maria that takes him out. That could go that way too. Man, what a great listener feedback show. A lot of great input, different things to think about, different angles, perspectives. I enjoyed that. I don't hold the same perspective, obviously, with everyone. There are different angles, but I love hearing the different takes. People
thinking about it, looking at it.
Yeah, and people saying this was my favorite episode of the season, or I'm loving this season. I don't think I'm personally loving this season. I haven't had that response to it, but I appreciate and can enjoy it a little more through someone else's eyes when they share their perspective like that.
True, but we have a lot of life happening right now. So
sure, yeah.
That could also
be a distraction.
Yeah.
From maybe I'm missing parts of it that I'm not appreciating as much. But anyway, what I was saying was thanks to everybody who took the time to send your thoughts in and enjoyed hearing your predictions. And we appreciate hearing from all of you. I want to say a big thanks to Christy Hazel, Erica, and Tara for your donations. We greatly appreciate that support. It goes to our operational costs, and that's a big help. That's significant. Thank you so much.
And if you play in JSFL, remember to make your Week 11 picks for one person voted off and 4 people who you think will be safe at the end of the episode. And be mindful of how many picks you have left. You can only use a one person safe 6 times.
I am not in a good position. This is the first season in a lot of seasons where I don't have enough safe picks to have a cushion anywhere.
I don't think I have any cushions either, but I hadn't really looked.
I think I'm going to end up hurting on the last one for sure.
You know,
if not before then.
At this time in the season, it's kind of like, oh, well, not much I can do about it now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I'll do the best I can.
I burned a lot on several people, and now they're still here. And I did not.
Yeah.
Did not expect that to be the case. It's underestimating how poor the gameplay can be, or how different, I should just say,
different
than what I expected.
Okay, anything else?
That's a wrap. We're looking forward to the episode this coming week, and we'll be back on Wednesday with our recap. Have a good one.